Today was a very important day for the state as Governor Matt Bevin finally announced his proposal for trying to fix the Kentucky pension plan. Now, we've talked about this on the show before. The Kentucky pension plan is really in trouble, and the amount of debt owed to workers future and past is tremendous. So Bevin released his proposal today, and I thought it would be important to look at what he said and whether or not any of this will actually help. Let's start with this. One of his points is that the plan will mandate that the state pay its required contribution every year and fund the plan no matter what. Now, this is a good step. For years, the problem has been very simple. These plans were not funded. The legislature kicked the can down the road, and that's how we got to where we are. This requires the state to fund it every single year. But this is going to cost a massive amount of money. And Bevin did not say how this was going to be paid for, an issue he says he'll address later. But to me, that's a problem. Next, there will be no increase in retirement age for current public workers, and the current plan and benefits will stay in place basically. Now, that's good. There were some ideas out there that potentially people's benefits would go down now. But for people that are in the system right now, their benefits stay the same until they get to retirement age. More on that later. The third thing, retirees. These are people that are retired right now. They will continue to get the same pension checks. Their benefits are not changed, with one exception. They will not get a cost of living increase for the next 5 years. But otherwise, if you're retired, your benefits would be the same. Next, future employees and teachers not in a hazardous profession, that's police and fire, will not get pensions at all and will move to a 401k system. Now, this is something Bevin has said was going to happen, and some people thought he would make that happen immediately for current employees. Instead, it's only for future employees. But there's a catch, and we'll get to that in a second. Next, Bevin said that employees in hazardous jobs, that includes police officers and firefighters, they will stay in the current pension program. So police officers aren't affected at all. I think this is important because it does suggest that the governor and the legislative leaders believe that the current pension plans are better than 401ks. That's why hazardous duty officers will be allowed to stay in them. So how does this affect you? I think it's very important if you know someone that's a school teacher or a public employee to understand exactly what happens. Let's start with retirees. For you all, it's very simple. Your benefits stay the same, but you will see no cost of living adjustment for the next 5 years. So the check you're getting now, you'll continue to get for the next 5 or 6 years. Now let's go to the employees that exist right now. If you're a current school teacher or a current public employee, you will still get the pension plan until your year of retirement. For most of you, that's year 27. After that point, any money you make afterwards will be moved into a 401k. And to be honest with you, it won't be very good for you because a 401k that starts then is really not going to make much money. So in some ways, this does not incentivize people to stay longer than the retirement year. So a lot of teachers, it's one time said that over 30% of teachers teach for more than 30 years. There really will be no financial incentive to do that anymore under this plan. In addition, for all current employees, their contributions to the plan will go up to 6%. That means for current employees, they may see their actual pay go down by up to 6%. Now, future employees, and this is important, this is future school teachers in Kentucky. They will not get a pension plan and will not be put into Social Security. This is pretty huge. That means if you know someone in college or wants to be a school teacher, they will not be in a pension, they'll get a 401k and no ability to get Social Security. That is a pretty awful deal in my opinion. There are virtually no employees in America who get 401ks and are not eligible for Social Security. I think we will actually be creating a future plan for future teachers that is as bad as any in America. I suspect maybe that should get changed. So is this all good? Well, on one level, yes. I think we are going to finally stop the bleeding and start requiring the legislator to actually fund these pension plans. That's good. Do I think it'll save money? Well, that's hard to say because Matt Bevin has punted on the issue of how we're going to pay for all this. One estimate I was told is that this could cost the state almost $800 million in the short term. Well, if so, how in the world are you going to fund that? Are you going to raise taxes? Well, I think it's important to know that before everybody agrees to it. I like the idea of trying to do something, But if you'll remember, there were some very hard fixes proposed by the governor a few weeks ago. They've now all been taken out. And I think you could make a strong argument that everything suggested won't help anything in the short term and barely help in the long term. My guess is all of this gets passed except maybe the future employees' Social Security part. But I don't know if it will actually help anything long term. And I do know this, the legislature is going to have to raise revenue, which probably means raising taxes.